am really happy to be here. How are you? How are you? Good. That's good. That's good. I see a lot of faces that I recognize and a lot that I don't. So there are a whole bunch of, how many of you are new to HR at Cornell in the last 5 years? Oh, a lot. That's why I don't recognize your faces. I've been gone for 7. and I miss it. And I am happy to be back, really happy to be back. So now that you're all fairly comfy, we still have people coming in. What I'd like you to do, you feeling good, comfy? Got everything all sort of snuggled up in your little chairs and stuff? So I'm going to ask you to move. I'm going to ask you to move. Yeah, Mary, you got to move. You don't have to. Oh, you don't have to move. All right, we'll give Mary an exception. I would like everybody else to move, and I want you to think about what it feels like having Roxy tell you that she wants you to move. So come on, everybody up. And the closer you can get down to the front, the better, because I want to talk with you. Come on down, folks. I want to talk with you today. Here's one right here. I promise not to bite. Come on down. Oh, Mary did move. There you moved. And you said no. I listened to you. This is good. Let's go. Let's go. We're getting there. Come on down. Come on down. Oh, loads of seats down here. And I promise I won't bite. What I'd really like to do is be able to see you and talk with you. So come on down. Clever girl. This is good. This is good. I can see more of you now. So how about you tell me, some of you have experienced a program with me before, right? How many have experienced a program with me before? Good. Okay. So this might not come as a big surprise. I'm going to ask you what was going through your mind when Roxy took control of your seating arrangement. How about some words? Here she goes again. Yeah, that Roxy, you can't, count on her to stay in one place. How about some feeling words? Annoyed. I love that one. That was a good one. Annoyed, God, I just sat down. What is this? What's another feeling word? Frustrated. Another one. Shout them out. Confused. Like, why would she want me to do that? I don't know why. What else? Tired. Tired of moving. I'm tired of moving. I'm tired of this change. What else? Reluctant. Give me a couple more. Exposed. Oh, that's a good one. That's one I haven't heard in a while. What's another one? Controlling. Controlling that Roxy. What a pain in my neck. Okay. Did anybody have an opposite of any of these words? Yeah.
I kind of like that whole interactive get up and do something.
Right.
Sorry.
No, please don't be sorry. That's really good. Because that's also true. Liked the interaction, right? So, and it was a change, right? A change in the interaction. Anybody else have some maybe less negative thing to say?
Okay.
Curious. Okay, what else? Energized. Why energized? Yeah, good. Energized. So all of those words come up a lot when we are asked to change against our will, don't they? We're asked to change. It's not my idea. I always say, in fact, where's Bob? Bob? Bob used to laugh and in fact, quote me that I used to say Roxy eats change for breakfast, right? Am I right? Uh-huh. And then I realized I love change when it's mine. I love it because it's fun. It's these things. It's interactive. I'm curious. I'm having all kinds of fun. I don't like it much when you make me do it because I don't have very much control, right? I've lost control. Hi, Chris. See ya. See, I'm trying to see faces I know high up, too, so it's not just down. And that's when I feel annoyed, frustrated, confused, tired, reluctant, exposed, controlling, and a whole lot of other, maybe not, such nice words that I want to say. And I'm with you. We're all like that, right? So what we're going to do today is we're going to spend some time talking about how to deal with what happens to us when we get bombarded and end up feeling some of this. Even some of this can help build our strength and our resilience to deal with some of this. So if we're feeling good about some of these changes, it can help us grow some muscle over here. Does that make sense? Yeah, so this topic of resilience. So let me just ask you, has anybody gone through any changes in the last 2, 3, 4 years? Anybody not gone through any changes? How about that? Have some of them been tough? How come? How come? Why are they tough? Just generically.
Difficult to understand.
Difficult to understand. So I might be confused, right? Frustrated. What else?
Unfamiliar.
Unfamiliar. Don't know what's going to happen next, right? And it's new to me. Good. What else?
Risks.
Risks. Can you tell me a little more about that?
The uncertainty, not knowing how to cope with that.
Right, right. So it's new territory, not sure where my feet are going to land, right? And you work with your HR folks, right? Am I right? You're involved with human resources in one way or another. And do you have people that you work with that you've had to help through these kinds of things in the last few years? Yeah, that's not, by the way, going to change. You're still going to have to help yourself and help others because change isn't getting less, it's getting more. So what we have to do is get better at it, right? We have to get better at being able to bounce back. And that's hard, and it takes some skills. So we're going to play with that today. One thing I would like you to know is you see a couple of very handsome gentlemen here with cameras. Handsome gentlemen, please raise your hands. With cameras. Sorry, the ones with cameras. There are several other handsome gentlemen splattered around the audience here, one there, one here. What they're doing is they're taping this for those who could not attend today, so that I will be giving Mary a DVD of this today. DVD, Roxy on DVD, I'm so excited. And it's also for my own professional development. I hope you don't mind. I need to understand how I interact with an audience in a little bit more direct way. So they're here for me mostly, and also for those who couldn't attend today. And if any of you want to see this again, which you'll know at the end whether you want to see it again or not. All right, so I want you to know that I have spent a lot of time creating humor for these slides. I am not a technology whiz, but here's the beginning. Are you ready? Okay, you obviously didn't get that. Okay, drum roll please, because what we're going to talk about is back to basics, how to reignite your own power, and we're really going to focus on resilience. All right, we ready for that? Okay, if I've forgotten to say anything that's housekeeping rules that you need to know, you know food's out there, right? And bathrooms are down the floor, and we will have a break before the question and answer session after the end, okay? And then we'll come back in and we'll chat together. How's that sound? Good? Okay. I love being people. You'll notice that as we go through this. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody got that. All right. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life, which is really true. Today was the first day of the rest of your life, and guess what? Tomorrow's going to be too. So let me ask you this. How are you feeling right now? And let's use really feeling words. Happy, sad, worn out, out of control, juiced up, grateful, angry, curious, overwhelmed, ready for anything. In terms of what does it feel like for you in your life right now. And you can, or if you don't want to talk about yourself, you can talk about people that you've been observing. What are you hearing? What are you hearing people are feeling? So let's just get a sense of how people are feeling right now. Worn out. Grateful. Overwhelmed.
Hopeful.
Excited. What?
Hopeful.
Hopeful? Good. Happy? Anxious. More? Ready for anything. Okay, here comes anything. Do you know why you and others are feeling the ways that you do? Because this is pretty important to understand why you're feeling the way you are. So what might be some of the reasons for that overwhelmed, overworked, excited, curious? What might be some of the reasons underneath those feelings? Can you
Multiple new systems.
work?
Multiple new systems.
Multiple what?
New systems.
New systems. Yeah, just being bombarded, right, with information and all sorts of things. What else? Yeah. Yeah, so good things could happen, right? And you hope that they will. Okay, so just begin to take this into account. Identify how you're feeling and then try to figure out why. Because sometimes we just feel and then react. We don't take the time to figure out, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? And that's a good question to ask those people who come to you for help. Why are they feeling the way they're feeling? What do they think's going on? What's underneath it? The next question, do you like feeling this way? So for the people who are feeling overwhelmed, anxious, frustrated, any of those other words, probably not so much, right? For the people who are feeling curious, excited, looking forward, probably feeling okay, right? Good to know why. And good to know if you like it or you don't. So what we're going to talk about is, if yes, how can you increase the positive and how can you decrease the negative? Because those things happen to us all the time. Don't we have good days and bad days? Is that true? Yeah? Now, when we have more good days than bad days, we're striking a good balance. It all starts with resilience. Mary asked me to talk about this topic, and I kind of took it for granted. And I just never really focused in on it. And I was really happy when she asked me that question because it made me start thinking about it. And so I've been thinking about it, and I've been reading about it, and I've been trying to deconstruct what it is that makes people more or less resilient. And I think we've got some answers that I think will be helpful to you today. And the second point about this that I'm reminded of is that it's not just about my resilience. It can also be about a team and the team's resilience and what's going on in that group. It can also be about the whole organization, whether that's a department or a division or the university or the world. You can tell where people are more resilient in one culture than another. They bounce back or they don't bounce back, as well as others. So this is not just about one individual. It really is something that we can apply across the map. And speaking about across the map, see, you may not remember a thing I say today, but you're going to remember my being people, right? Okay. Did you know there are over 6.8 billion people in the world? Now, I looked all this up on Google, so you don't have to check. There are over 300 million people in the United States. There are over 19 million people in New York State. I thought it was 18, but no, internet says over 19. There are over 100,000 people in Tompkins County. There are over 31,000 students, faculty, and staff at Cornell, Ithaca, and New York. And there are about, how many people here today, would you say? 120? 30? Something like that? Yet, there is only one you. I would like you to think about what that means. This is an example my friend Cal Walker uses with at-risk kids. And I just think it's really important for all of us to remember. There is only one you. There has ever only been one you. And there always will only be one you. So that makes you unique and rare because there's only one. There's only one. And all of us, that's true for all of us. So it's important for us to take care of ourselves because that matters. We matter. And the people you work with matter. So I just wanted to give you a little perspective. And a little more perspective, how about this? I want you to appreciate what I did to do this. All right? Let's not look back because none of us are going in that direction. None of us. There is no back. There's only forward. There's only today, there's only tomorrow, and the next day and the next day. We can learn from the past. That's great. But what we don't want to do is get stuck in the past, right? Does that make sense? So let's learn some things. My dancing letter. Let's learn some things about resilience that might help us move forward in a much more positive way than we might otherwise. I didn't have him lift that because I couldn't figure out how to make it work. Oops, before I tell you, I'd like to hear your thoughts. What are some thoughts about resilience? What do you think we mean when we say resilience? Or that I mean? Flexibility, good. Good. What else?
Positive attitude.
Positive attitude, good.
Keeping going even when it's tough.
Yeah, keeping going even when it's tough. I can. What else? The ability to bounce back. Yeah. You got all of those things are correct. Let me just give you a couple ways to think about it like you were talking about it and a little bit more. The ability to cope dynamically with stress and adversity. Adversity is a key word here. Things that get us going, punch our buttons, right? And stress can be good, not when it's too much negative stress, because then that just wears us out and makes us sick, makes us actually ill. And to bounce back, much like an inoculation helps the body reject infection and heal. And then think about it this way also. I found this fascinating as I was researching this topic. It's a process, not a trait. Think about that. It's sort of like trust. Think of it. This is an example I had in my head. Like trust. Trust, you don't go down to Kmart and get, well, there's no Kmart now, but you don't go down to Walmart and get a blue light special or whatever they have and take home trust. It's a process. It's a process of experiences, of events, of things that happen between people. So is resilience. Resilience is a process, not a trait. And it's an outcome. The outcome is resilient. It's not, I'm a resilient person, yay. It's what am I doing to become resilient? What am I doing to grow that and to diminish those things that are taking resilience away from me? I'd like you to think about this too. It has several factors to consider the building and strengthening and becomes an outcome of resilience. Think about a spring. You know, boing. Oh, I should have put a boing in there. Think about a spring, boing, or a rubber band. Well, you know, if you pull on that too long, what happens? Yeah, it stretches out. So the only way, because you're going to keep pulling on it, you gotta. Life makes you. It's going to happen. So one of the things you can do to keep that spring strong and keep its elasticity is to build more strength into that spring. So you're going to have to help that spring get stronger, and that spring's inside of you. So we're going to do that by increasing your resilience and enhancing your awareness and actions that you can take, that you have control over, that you have power over, through some factors. Before we get to the factors, though, I'm going to ask you some questions. Why bother? This is a fair question. Isn't that a fair question? Why bother? We got lots to do. Why do I have to spend time building resilience, right? Here are some reasons why. And in each one of these, I'm going to give you a personal example, and I'd be happy to hear examples from any of you. That's my resilience guy. Okay. Overcoming obstacles from our childhood tapes. Now, I'm not a therapist, and I'm not going to pretend to be a therapist. But let me tell you something. I've never met anybody yet that didn't bring their kid to work, and I'm not talking about one day a year. I'm talking about you. I bring my kid to work. I bring my little kid to work every day. Because you know what? That person didn't die. It's still inside of you. You're just a bigger kid. You're older, hopefully wiser, and that person is still there. So some of the tapes that we have from childhood, there are lots of them, right? We have lots of tapes going around about what's okay and what's not okay, don't we? Okay, so one of mine was, I went to 17 schools in 17 years. Doesn't that make you want to throw up? Yeah. But, that was normal life for me. That was normal life for me. But let me tell you this, it was sink or swim. I had to make friends fast, and then they were gone because I moved, right? So for those of you who grew up in the same school system and went and have people from elementary school, some people might have even, partnered for life with their high school sweetheart. Yeah, that would not have been me because I was moving all the time, right? We weren't running away from the law or anything. I don't want you to. We were just following my dad's career. And we ended up here in Ithaca. And he founded TC3, and he sat still, and I kept moving. So that was interesting. Here's the childhood tape behind that. Childhood tape behind that is depend only on yourself because there's nobody else there. You're going to be moving. They're going to be gone. Too bad. Suck it up. Get over it. Move on. It's true. I'm glad you enjoy it because it was a fun story for me too, I thought, at the time. What happened, though, was that's what I learned how to do. I learned how to not ask anybody for help. I learned how to do it all on my own. I learned how to pretend I was strong and powerful and had all the answers, which was all a load of baloney, right? Because I might have been strong at this and strong at that, but I didn't have all the answers, but I was supposed to have all the answers, okay? Because that was the tape. You got to figure it out on your own. Figure it out. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. I had to identify that in order to be able to get past it so that I could become more resilient. Because I was resilient on the surface. It looked good. It really looked good. It looked like, oh, man, she can go into any crowd and do whatever she wants to do, and life is good for Roxy. And the truth was that I didn't have any friends. I mean, they knew me and I knew them, but they weren't my friends. The people you call up at 2 o'clock in the morning crying or, beating on the, whatever you do when you call somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what you do. I know what I do. I didn't have any of those until much later in my life. Much later. Okay, here's the second one. Steering through everyday adversities. So, George Carlin has this saying. The saying is, he's talking about road rage, right? And he says, all those people going faster than me, they're maniacs. All those people going slower than me, they're idiots. But what does that make him? I'm not really sure. He's somewhere in between. And this is how he reacts to road rage. Of course, he's dead now. I don't know how he would do it today. But bottom line is that he was blaming the people who were going too fast and blaming the people who were going too slow. Let's find somebody to blame for my adversities, rather than steering through them in a way that is working for you. So I'll give you my little example. This happened last week. Very, very interesting. I had a great day. I was on my way to Milwaukee. Had everything all planned my hotel, got my car reserved, got my plane reserved. I was cooking. Packed on time, got to the airport on time, no problem. Life was good. Got to the airport in Milwaukee, fell flat on my face. Down, gone, down, down. on my face. Tripped over my whatever I had, fell flat on my face. There was an entire airplane of people behind me. Can you imagine how embarrassing that was? It was awful. I have a big bruise on my knee, but I'm still walking good. Life is good. And I get to the hotel. So I get in the car, and I don't get an upgrade. So I get this little teeny weeny itsy bitsy car, and I'm feeling all choked up inside. Okay, fine. It'll get me there. Fine. Get to the hotel. No reservation. No reservation. I said, but I have a piece of paper here. Yeah, well, where's the confirmation number? I don't know. I did it online. It should be there. And what about next week? I got to be there next week, too. No, it's not there. Okay, can you get me in? Yeah, we can. Yeah, I'll just move a little thing. Okay, fine. 10 minutes later, I'm finally in my room. It's real dry. I take my jacket off, static electricity flying everywhere. So I think, I know what I'll do. I'll turn on the shower. Good. Turn on the shower, full blast, steam's rolling out of the thing, and the fire alarm goes off. And I am naked as a jaybird. And the fire alarm goes off, and I go, okay, maybe it'll go away. And I'm like doing this, right? I hope it'll go away. Does not go away. Maybe. Oh, and by the way, just a little sideline. Right before I got into my room, before I did this silly thing with the shower, right before that, this guy is like talking to me with a glass of wine on the way up the elevator, and I'm like, his room is right next to mine. And I say to him, now don't make too much noise, I'm tired. I go into my room, 3 minutes later, blah, 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 blah. So I get dressed, I go downstairs, the guy can't figure out how to turn it off, they don't know what to do. 10 minutes later, and I'm not moving. I'm staying right in that lobby because I don't want anybody to know it's my room. So finally they turn it off, I go upstairs, I don't dare take a shower, I don't dare do anything, right? And I sit down and I go, what is the world, universe, God trying to tell you? Slow down, figure it out, pay more attention. I don't know. I could be either really upset or I could laugh. What do you think I did? I did. I sat there by myself. I mean, this was a scene. I sat there by myself and just laughed. I laughed and I laughed and I thought, nobody's going to believe this story. And this was just, a series of little events that I thought I had all covered, right? So how come this thing went away? Oh, there we go. So steering through everyday adversities, how do you do that? Because they come and they go. And they're going to come and they're going to go. And that's going to keep happening and happening and happening and happening. So the question is, how are you steering through them? And pay attention to that, because really, there was nothing I could do about any of that stuff, and I could either get myself all upset and miserable. Oh, and by the way, I had a big day the next day. I was meeting with the CEO, and I had to talk to him, and I had to convince him of some stuff, and I really needed to get a good night's sleep, right? So if I had gotten myself all spun up, I wouldn't have slept at all that night, at all. All right, bouncing back from setbacks. You know that these things are going to happen, and you know you need to bounce back. And I guarantee that every person in this room has bounced back. How many people here have bounced back from an illness? Almost the whole room. All right. How many people here have bounced back from some big job, unexpected job change? A whole lot of the room. Okay. How many people have observed people who have bounced back from life traumas? Everybody in the room. All right. That means you know how to do it. It does. It means you're all here, you're all alive, you're all in this room. That means you know how to do it, which means you've already got a good start. So I don't want you to think you don't know how to bounce back. You do. And I bet you know you do. You just maybe haven't given yourself enough credit for doing it. We all bounce back most of the time. I mean, there are some things people don't bounce back from. I know that. I'm not trying to be Pollyanna. Most of the time, though, we can bounce back. It requires some work. So I'm going to tell you another story. The last 6 months of 2011 were perhaps the worst 6 months, well, until December, that I've had in years, a decade. My life plan, and I'm not 40. I'm in my 60s. I know you don't believe that, but it's true. So, when you're in your 60s, you're not really thinking about starting all over, and you're not really thinking about reinventing yourself. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. I'm just saying that's what at least for me, I fell into this lazy lady trap of, I got it all figured out. I know what I'm going to do. I got this place over here. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make that happen. And then the economy crashed. And you know what that did to you guys. Well, it did a lot to me too. A lot. And I'm out here. I'm an independent consultant. I've been out here for 7 years. Life's good. People need me. People like me. Isn't that wonderful? And my entire world started to change. And I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I started losing sleep. I started having anxiety attacks. This is not me. I'm going, who's this? It's like an out-of-body experience. I didn't even know who I was anymore. And this is in the last 6 months, folks. So I'm not standing here going, I know it all. I'm saying, here's something I just went through, and I hope that it will help you, because I did get through it. And I'm going to tell you how I got through it. And it all is wrapped up in this information I'm giving you today. The number one thing to help you bounce back is reaching out to others. Number one. Number one, number one, number one. And remember, that is not Roxy's best quality, right? Remember my childhood tapes? Okay? I don't know about you, but I'm not one of the best people to go, yo, I got a problem here, help. I'm just not good at that. Wasn't good at that. Sorry, better language. I'm really good at that now. I will probably fall into some traps as we go along. I'm much better at it. And let me tell you what this does. This isn't just reaching out to others for yourself. This is reaching out to others also to help them. Because the miracle of this is that when you talk to people and they care about you and they care about what you care about, synergies happen that never would have happened otherwise. And what's happened is nothing short of magic. What's happened is that I started talking to people I trust and who love me and I love them, not just my family, but my friends. And some of them are in this room. And I said, I don't know what to do. What should I do? And then I went to plan B and plan C. And then I've created a whole new plan. And you know what? It's a 10 times, 100 times better plan than anything I would have come up with if I hadn't got slapped down, made to be humble. Made to be humble. Humility is very good for the soul. Very good for the soul. I didn't have all the answers, by golly. I didn't. I wasn't so strong. I wasn't so smart. I wasn't so had it all together. I needed help. And I reached out to people I really trust and who I said, I need your ideas. What can I do? What should I do? What might I do? I'm thinking this is what I kind of like to do, blah, 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 blah. And the end result was just fabulous. And still fabulous. I mean, it's like the snowball rolling downhill. And it started, well, it's more than started there. It's all of these things I had to go through and think about. And then I really had to reach out. And so all I can tell you is that without reaching out to others, the rest of them are far less impactful. Does that make sense? Yeah? Did I just depress you all? No? Okay. So now we're going to talk about the 7 factors. I want to show you this book. This is the book. So, I'm on Amazon.com, and I'm looking at resilience, and I open up some pages, and I'm, how you can do that. It's great. I love that. You can sort of, read the parts of the book you like and throw out the rest. It's great. This one is the one that I got, and I will recommend it to you. It's not, I didn't write it, so I'm not trying to sell it. It's Karen Rivich and Andrew Chate, I think. They're psychologists and organizational experts, but they also look at therapy. And they studied lots and lots and lots and lots of people to come up with their thoughts here. And one of the coolest things about this book, I took this test. It's a resilience quotient test. And it asks you things like this. I am good at shutting out anything that distracts me from the task at hand. That would not be me. I did not score high on that one. I give in to the urge to give up when things go wrong. I believe that it is better to believe problems are controllable, even if that is not always true. Here's one more. People often seek me out to help them figure out problems. Okay? These are the kinds of questions, and there are 7 factors that are measured in those questions, and I was pretty surprised where I scored on some of these things. Made me understand where I needed to do my work. So it was worthwhile activity. So here's the first one. And you're going to see some spaces between these numbers, and for those people who don't like things to be irregularly spaced, I have a plan for that. So I don't want you to get upset when these aren't regularly spaced. Emotional regulation, the ability to stay calm under pressure. Roxy likes to catastrophize. Oh my God, the ceiling is falling in. You know, like that. I can do that. It's easy for me to catastrophize. It's so natural for me to do that. I have to stop doing that, and I have stopped doing that for the most part. I hadn't stopped doing that around, July or August. Ability, how well can you regulate your own emotions? Second one, see the space there? Okay. Emotional or impulse control. So my husband said to me last night as we were going through these slides, he says, oh, I always know. And I go, you always know what? I always know when emotional regulation is out of control. And I say, how? He says, because the credit card slips start coming in. I buy things. I buy things I don't need. I buy things I don't care about. It's really stupid. Doesn't anybody do that? Wow. Yeah, thank you. A couple honest people in here. No, kidding. Impulse control, the ability to delay instant gratification. So how well can you do that or not? Whether it's money, food, other drugs of choice, whatever. 3, notice the spacing. Okay, I just want you to understand. Optimism, the ability to believe things can change for the better. Now, I scored really high on that. I do believe things can change for the better. I really do. Think about it this way. You've heard the glass half full, half empty kind of thing, right? And I think at different times in our life, we feel different ways. Sometimes we do feel it's sort of half empty. I was feeling half empty in July and August. Most of the time, I have an abundant versus scarcity attitude. I do believe there is enough. I just have to get more clever at figuring out where and how. Check your optimism. And this isn't, just the power of positive thinking. This is really, do you believe that things can change for the better? And do you believe, next, that you have some control over it? Self-efficacy, another weird space. The belief we can solve the problems we face. So that has a lot to do with your confidence and your sense of, you know what, I can figure this out. Don't think you can figure it out all on your own. Remember? Seek people out. Seek help. But that's still you seeking. That's still you doing. Number 5, causal analysis. This is the ability to get underneath sort of the question behind the question, to accurately identify the causes of the problem. It's so easy to blame shift. It's so-and-so's fault. It's Cornell's fault. Who's Cornell? I love it when people say, it's Cornell's fault. Or it's, the CEO's fault, or it's the company's fault, or it's whoever's fault. Let's look a little more closely at that. What's really going on? Why are you feeling the way you're feeling? Okay, I can tell you what the problem was with me. The problem was with me is I was in denial. I was in absolute denial. This isn't going to affect me. This isn't going to affect me. This isn't going to affect me. Boom. Yes, it is. Wake up. So my problem was I was in denial. There was nobody to blame but me. And I needed to take a real hard look at that. And I have, and I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I had to do that because it changed my perspective on everything. Empathy, the ability to read and respond to others' state and situation. I didn't score as high on this as I had hoped. Wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as I had hoped. I have a lot of empathy in my professional life. A lot. Oh, I can feel your pain. And I mean it. I'm good. I'm good. You're probably good at that too when you're talking to other people. I'm not so good at that in my personal life. My personal life, I like to personalize instead of empathize. I figured that one out. It's like, well, she didn't call me. Where is that coming from? I didn't know where that was coming from, but I did have to identify it that, I got some work to do on the empathy scale. So I'm going to work on that. And I am working on it. And by the way, great results. Great results. 7, reaching out. Oh, here's that reaching out again. The ability and willingness to ask for and give help. One of the things I do want to say is this country prides itself on being independent. We're all so independent, aren't we? We're independent, we're tough, we're the get-it-done country, right? We live free or die country, right? That's who we are. Meanwhile, history and reality tells us not one pilgrim would have made it without help. Not one. We wouldn't be here without help. People were helped all the way for the journey from the East Coast all the way over to the West Coast, whether it was Lewis and Clark or anybody else. Without help, nobody would have made it. So it's a fallacy. We may be independent, but we are way more interdependent than we want to believe sometimes. And interdependency is healthy. Dependency isn't. Wild, crazy independency isn't. Interdependency is. And we are interdependent on one another. So reaching out will make you feel better. And it'll probably help somebody else too. That's the book. Okay, so now you want to know what I'm doing with the spaces? Look, there's one. See, I had to make space for the arrow. Emotional regulation and impulse control are extremely closely related. You can see why, can't you? Hello? Can you see why? Okay, thanks. I need response because I feel like otherwise I have to repeat myself and people tell me that's a bad habit. So I don't want to do that. Optimism and self-efficacy, believing things can change for the better and believing that you can make them change for the better, they're very related. So pay attention to how that's going on in your life and with those that you're trying to help. This is from the book direct. Well, all of this last few pages is from the book directly. What I'd like to bring your attention to is their formula. Their formula is the ABCs of resilience. And they call that adversity, beliefs, and consequences. I would call it something like this. Something happens. You can call it whatever you want, but something happens. You attach some meaning to that, and then you act out on it. We see that all the time. An event occurs. I think it's because of this. I assign motivation. I assign whatever I assign, and then I behave in some way that responds to that. So let's look at the 3 real quickly, and I'm going to go through these slides fairly quickly. These slides will be available to you, by the way, so don't worry about that. I probably should have told you that at the beginning. You will have, anybody who wants them, you will have them available to you. Adversity. So these are tactics now of ways to deal with these 3 things. Something happens, you create some meaning around it, and then you act on it. Identify the stresses and adversities that push your buttons and rate them low 1, high 5, somewhere in there. So for instance, let's think about this. Say somebody's getting in your way on the way to work, right? Honk, 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 honk. And they don't move when they're still They're talking on their cell phone, which is illegal. And you are so mad because you're going to be late to work and you've got a meeting and you're not happy, right? That's the event. That's a 1 on your scale, or is it a 5? Huh? It's a 5 for some people? Anybody that's a 1? Some people 1. How about a 3? Is that a 3? You'll take a 3? Okay. Going once, going twice, going 5 times. Okay. So that's interesting, isn't it? For some people it's a 1, for some people it's a 5, and for some people it's a 3. We don't respond to adversity in the same ways. We really don't. So it's important to pay attention to how you're identifying that event. Look for patterns of kind of adversity, your response and your behaviors. So look at things you always do and look at things you never do. So do you have a bad day and come home and kick the dog? Right? Is that a pattern? Is your adversity event that comes up over and over again around conflict, around relationships, around values, around what? Identify what are the patterns. You need to think about this. This is work, by the way, but it's work worth doing. Believe me. I'm living proof. All right, so first identify those things around adversities. And then now let's go to beliefs. This is the ticker tape in your head. Right? What are you believing about it? What meaning are you assigning to it? Here's a tactic. And there's about 3 tactics here. Identify your beliefs in the moment. Why am I believing this way? Okay. I am really mad at that person in front of me who's talking on the phone because they don't care that I'm going to be late to work. But they don't know you. They don't know you. And yes, they're being inconsiderate, but oh, guess what? If you were listening in on that phone call, their mother just had a heart attack. Does that change your opinion? So you don't really know, which means you're making assumptions. And you don't know what those assumptions are unless you think about it. So it's important to ask yourself, what am I believing, and what assumptions am I putting to that make me all upset? And then, what are you saying to yourself? This stupid person, if they were considerate and had the same values I had, they'd never do something like this to me. Is that what we're saying? Or not? Learn to question and think deeply about the beliefs that drive your responses to life. Because your belief system is pushing your buttons, good and bad feelings. Good stuff, bad stuff. And you'll be much more resilient if you identify this stuff, and you'll be able to bounce back. You'll be growing those muscles, strengthening those muscles that allow that spring inside of you to go boing instead of mrr. Right? You don't want to go mrr. That is not a fun place to be. Boing is good. Boing is good. C is consequences. So this is the last of this. Identify how you are feeling. I asked you earlier today when we moved chairs to give me some feeling words. You did a great job, by the way, on feeling words. Not thinking, feeling. That's here. How are you feeling? Because your feelings make a difference. And by the way, does anybody think that people don't bring their feelings to work? Oh, good. This is a good crowd because you get that, right? You should see me trying to explain this to stuck-in-their-head leaders. I mean, it's amazing. Oh, I can separate those. I'm really good at compartmentalizing. No, you're not. You might be better than me, but you're not. Because those feelings are going to come out. They're going to show up somewhere. Somehow. Maybe they go home and kick the dog, I don't know, but they're going to come out because we can't help it. It's going to show up somewhere. Or maybe they're going to internalize it and make themselves sick. That could happen too. All right? So identify how you're feeling, and please, please, please pay attention to that. Identify what you want to feel. If you don't like the way you're feeling, I did not like feeling anxious. I can tell you that. I did not like having my heart pounding like this. I did not like losing sleep. That was not fun for me. Not who I am. It's who I was. It's not who I like to be. So I identified how I was feeling. I'm having an anxiety attack. Oh my God. I haven't had one of those in years and years, if ever. Identify what you want to feel. Identify positive options for moving yourself from where you are to where you want to be. Even if you want to strengthen, even if you're feeling good, how can I feel better? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? You are impressed, right? Okay. B and C are very connected. So here are some beliefs, right? Violation of your values. That's what they did when they were on the phone. They don't care about people like us having to go to work. Real world loss. Someone dies that's close to you. Trauma. Self-worth feelings. Those are all real. A violation of another that you observed but maybe didn't do anything about. Imagined future threats. Like what's going to happen? Is the earth going to move under my feet again? Negative comparisons. And here are some of the things we act out. Anger, real world loss, sadness, and depression. Have you seen sadness and depression in the workplace in the last few years? Yes. Because this is what happens when people feel like victims and feel out of control. When they feel out of control and take a sense of, I'm a victim, there's nothing I can do, they're doing this to me, I have no control, I'm a mess, blah, 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 I'm unhappy. When that happens, a whole lot of illness, mental illness, emotional illness, and just plain old being unhappy comes about. And you've seen it, right? So what's the best way to get people out of that? Help them get back control. And people do have more control than they think they do. They give up. We all give up too soon. Violation of another, we feel guilty if we don't do anything about it. And that's not a good thing. Future threats, anxiety and fear. That was me. That was me. Embarrassment, loss of self-esteem. The embarrassment was falling on my face in front of a crowd at the airport. I managed to get over that. Was my life over? Was I ever going to see any of those people again for the rest of my life? No. So do I care? No. I'm okay, I'm fine. Somebody did offer to help. One person offered to help. I didn't need help, thank goodness. One person did offer and then double checked, which was really cool. So she's not feeling guilty. I hope the other 320 feeling guilty. So let's go to remember there's only one you. You own your own power. And if you give it away, don't blame anybody else. I want to say that again. You own your own power. If you give it away, don't blame anybody else. Take your power back. And you can do it. If you let any of it go, if anybody in here has let any of it go, go get it back. Because it's yours. It's nobody else's. Don't give power away. And that means your personal power, your personal resilience, your personal strength. Right? In fact, how many people, actually, I'm not even going to ask. What I want you to do is, I know all of you have bounced back. Am I right? From something. Okay, I would like you to turn to the person you're right and pat them on the back and say congratulations for bouncing back. Good. You know, that was so good. I want you to do it again, only go the other way now. Good job. Good job. Doesn't that feel good? I bounced back. Yay! Okay. Yay! And it's true. So if you can do it once, you can do it again and again and again and again and again, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You can keep that spring boing, boing, bouncing all day long. It's about choices. It's about choices. Your attitude, your decision, your behaviors, and your actions are your choices and nobody else. That's part of how you take back your own power. It's about paying attention to what pushes your buttons, what's getting in your way, what's driving you nuts, what's making you crazy, right? And the beliefs about those things, and then what you do about it and how you act out. It's about taking back your power and taking control of your choices. And this is true for everybody you're working with. It's true for everybody in your family, and it's true for you. I want you to do that for yourself. It's a cool place to be, I gotta tell you. Your happiness is directly, and I underline directly, related to your resilience. Resilience is huge. Do I believe? Can I? Am I bouncing back from whatever is coming your way? And it comes every day. Come on. Every day. I mean, once in a while you have a perfect day. Okay, great. Chalk it up. Yay. January 31st, 2002. I had a perfect day. Great. Choose joy. Oh, okay, so what this is these are some lessons I've learned along in life, and I repeat them to myself over and over again. Sometimes I forget. I forgot in July and August. And then I remembered. So I'm going to give them to you. Choose joyfulness. Consciously. Consciously. Let go of those things that are blocking you from being joyful. If it's not working for you, figure out why. And either fix it or get rid of it, because it doesn't belong in your life. And by the way, the more you let go of the things that are blocking you, the more space you create. Just think about your closet. Clean that sucker out. Think of all the cool things you can put in there now that you wouldn't have ever thought about being able to put in there or have the opportunity for. But if you didn't let go of all the junk, there's no room. So let go and then be open to receive opportunities and gifts, because they will come when there's space. If there's no space, they won't come. Pretty simple. Ask for what you need and want. This is reaching out. Ask for what you need and want. It's okay. What's the worst somebody can say to you? No, you're not any worse off than you were a minute ago. You might feel a little rejected. Get over it. Okay? Ask somebody else. There are lots of people. There are over 6 billion people you can ask. Don't stop if you get no for an answer. Mary knows me really well. How well do I take no for an answer, Mary? Not so well. No, I just keep going. All right, believe you deserve to receive. Remember how rare you are? Remember how unique you are? You do deserve to receive, and so does everybody else. There is enough. We just haven't figured out how to, share very well in our sandboxes. But believe you deserve, because you do. And receive it when it comes. It's not a good idea to shut the door on good news. I mean, I've done that. I don't do that anymore. But I have done that. Oh, no, that doesn't look like it. Yeah, no, I'm too busy to do that. No, great opportunity. Didn't take it up because, I just wasn't ready to receive. And that's a shoot yourself in the foot thing. That's a shave and haircut. Okay. You can bounce back. Did you see that? I love it. Just think about that being you. Yeah, I'm just so enamored with this thing. So I want to see you all be 10s, because you can. You can make yourself 10s. You can bounce back. You can be 10s. And here's how. And here's why. Here's why. Because you've done it before. Right? You do know how to do this. You just need to get better at it. A little exercise. You deserve it. Just talked about that. You can grow resilience. We've just talked about that. There are a whole bunch of ways to grow resilience. And it's real and it works. I'm not kidding. I mean, I really am not kidding. So you just have to decide. And you are not alone. Anybody in here think they could get more resilient? Come on. Anybody? Yeah, you are not alone. See that? Almost every hand, if not every hand, went up. The ones that didn't go up are feeling pretty spunky. You are alive, and today is indeed the first day of the rest of your life, and guess what? Tomorrow will be too. So how cool is that? So we're going to practice reaching out, because that's the hardest thing for a lot of us to do. It's easy. I'm not going to, make you do some stuff you don't want to do. But here's what we're going to do. And if anybody needs paper and pens, I have some extras. Thank you to Marilyn. So here's what we're going to do. I would like you to take out a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'd like you to write down one, only one, not 10, please. Not 10, not 5, not 3, not 2. One. Just one. Challenge that you have with your own resilience. So you knew mine was reaching out, right? That was part of it. The other part was that I wasn't paying attention to what was causing my problems, so I had issues around looking at the causal question behind the question. So I would like you to think about one challenge in terms of either how you deal with adversity, what kind of beliefs you associate with it, what kind of consequences or behaviors, the actions then come from it. So just think about one of those things. Is it a belief? Is it an action? I have road rage. Okay, that's an action. I have a belief that people are out to get me, and that doesn't mean I'm paranoid. No. Okay, whatever it is, a belief, something that constantly occurs in terms of the adversity, or something that you act out on in terms of your own feelings. So just one of those things, not all three. All right? Everybody clear on that? Any questions about that? What I'm asking you to do. Okay. Then what's going to happen is you're going to turn around, or however it works best in this room, you're going to turn around, and yes, I have lots of paper and pencils over here. Turn around to the person behind you or next to you, whatever works, but I want to make sure everybody has somebody to talk to, that you can ask this question. I would like to get better at, boom, not having road rage, whatever it is. Do you have any advice or strategies I could consider? Because there's a lot of wisdom in this room. A lot of wisdom. And we've been there, we've done that, we can help each other. So you're going to do that, and then they're going to do that with you when you partner. And keep your paper and pen handy. Write down what they say, because you're going to walk out of here today with 4 strategies to help you with something that you'd like to work on. Okay? And you're going to have 4 minutes in each duo, and then we're going to do it 3 more times. So you're going to get 4 pieces of advice when you walk out of here today. Oh, jeez. Come on, this will be fun. What questions do you have about this activity? It's practicing reaching out. Oh, you think it's funny. I love that. That's good. Please make other people laugh, would you? That would be good. What questions do you have about this activity? Are we clear? Something you want to get better at that will build your resistance. Build your resilience. Make you spring more, boing more, and stretch less in a bad, uncomfortable way. You know what? How many people have theirs right now? Come on. How many people are you still working on it? Okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute to figure that out. And then I'm going to start the time, and you need to find a partner. And then I'm going to time it on my little iPhone here. And at 4 minutes, I'll tell you. And then we'll do 4 minutes and 4 minutes and 4 minutes. So we're going to take about 15, 16 minutes to do this. All right. What? Can anybody just volunteer to say something about the wisdom you got out of the room? Can I get a couple volunteers? Yeah.
Everyone's way smarter than I
Oh! So it's easy to ask for help, right? Okay. Another volunteer? Yeah.
Well, my example, my personal challenge is most people know that my home was flooded back in September.
September.
The first person I asked for help had experience of having their home lost in fire.
Uh-huh.
So
Wow.
immediately there's like
A bond. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, wow. That's magic. Thank you. Thank you. One more volunteer. What was that like for you? What did you get out of it? Come on. Yeah. And you're not alone. Doesn't it feel good to not be alone? Doesn't that feel good? I can't begin to tell you. I mean, it is just one year I went to an experience up in Canada, and one of the favorite quotes out of that experience that I remember is, "We're all part of the Scar family." I don't think any of us have been pain-free in our lives. Am I probably right about that? We've all experienced pain in families, in relationships, at work, at the grocery store, wherever. And reaching out to understand that we're not alone is really a powerful thing. Powerful thing. I'll take one more.
Recognition that what I was telling somebody, they actually experienced it in some way. I mean, that it was just this acknowledgement of like, and then the stories that I was hearing, I could relate to actually.
Right.
So that it didn't feel like it was so far outside of my own experience or reality.
Right.
And it didn't matter which way I turned, I could identify with something.
Yeah, which means, that's really helpful, Dane. Thank you. We are having a human experience together on this planet, and so it's not surprising that we're going to experience many of the same things. And the more we reach out, the more not alone we'll realize. So I'm really glad that you did that. What we're going to do, I hope you enjoyed it. Did you like doing that activity? You can do that activity as many times as you want, anytime you want. Huh? All right. Would we please remember, we don't stop here today. This is a beginning of thinking about this maybe a little differently. So there are food and snacks outside. What I would like to do is we will get you out of here on time. We promise to get you out by 4:30, and we will definitely get you out on time, if not early. What I would like you to do is the bathrooms are a floor down if you need them. The drinks and stuff are out. If you could be back in, say, 12 minutes, that would be really wonderful, because that probably means you'll be back in 15. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about this topic together and do a question and answer time, and I'm more than happy to have a discussion with you, and I'd really like to hear from you when you come back. So please come back. I'm so glad so many of you came back. That means I must not have bored you completely. That's a good thing. So this is a time for us to interact around this topic. And I don't have any sound effects for my little guys this time, but here we are. So let's have an open discussion and any questions and answers that might come out of it. So what do you think about this topic? Is it important? Very important. Yeah, at home and at work, huh? Yeah. Good. Good way to start out the year, right? Good. Things aren't too nuts yet. I know it's about to get that way. But what else? What else went through your mind about this topic of resilience, and what questions do you have? I know it's a big group, but you kind of know each other, right? So you don't mind raising your hand? No questions? No thoughts? Yes?
I'm just curious how we measure up to the other groups that you share this kind of stuff with.
You are the virgin group. So you are the best group I've ever had. Without a doubt. I mean, beyond belief. Actually, I was really pleased that you laughed in all the right places that I was hoping you would. It's not like I'm a stand-up comedian, but I do want you to be engaged with the material, because if you fall asleep with it, then I'm not doing my job. So it felt like you were in it with me, and what I'd like to know is what parts of it resonated with you. It would help me for feedback as well, so that if I do this with anyone else, bless you. If I do this with anyone else, when I do this with other people, it would help me to know what resonated with you, and help each other know what resonated. So can we share some of the stuff that resonated? Yeah.
I like the 7 keys that are listed.
Okay.
I think they're very concise also, so that they are easily applicable in different areas.
Yeah, yeah. What's nice about this book, thank you, is that the little test that I told you about, self-test, they break it into each one of those 7. So you can see where you scored high and where you scored low on those 7. And that helped me know that, okay, this one I'm not so good at, I need to work on. And that just helps you build your own resilience in areas that are, you don't need to spend a lot of time where you're really pumping iron. You need to spend the time where you got a little bit of weakness or need to develop. What else resonated with you? Or questions do you have? Yeah.
I really like the fact that we got a chance to ask our fellow coworkers their advice.
Yeah.
Because they're our best resource. It was just really nice to show some of the people that I didn't interact with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I feel like I have some problems.
Yeah.
Other people that I can reach out to, and we shared some really good ideas, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very helpful.
Good. I would really encourage you, because this is such a great forum for all of you, to find some time, if you can, as often as you can, to raise a question that you can ask each other. And that's just one. As you build resilience, there will be even more questions. Hey, who's dealt with this, or how have you dealt with this? Because again, we're not alone. We experience the same things a lot of the time. Another question or observation. Yeah.
Roxy, I thought it was really great that you pointed out the piece about learning to ask other people for help, because I think we're all such caregivers
Yeah.
as a community that a lot of times we don't look at ourselves and look at what we need.
What we need.
And I know personally, speaking for myself, that really resonated with me.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. I appreciate it. The trap of caregivers and people who are trying to help people all the time is that you put yourself last. Well, there's not going to be anything to give other people if you keep doing that. I mean, you'll be all used up. And used up you isn't going to help anybody, right? So that's a great observation. Other things that resonated or questions that you have?
The more that I'm aware of what gets in my way of being resilient, the better I am. So that whole notion of thinking about where you get stuck,
Yeah.
What pushes your buttons, that stuff that becomes less of just a reaction, and that I go, I'm reacting, why?
Yeah.
That's the more I can do that, the better I think.
Right.
I feel, and I'm working. Sometimes it's really little moments that
Yeah.
can make all the difference. I mean, it can be
Right.
the way someone says hello to you can make you spend the next half hour figuring out what was that about.
That's right.
And if I can let that go, then I just get on with my day and move through it and understand that it's not so much about me, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big one for me. Thank you, Jamie. That's a big one. It's like, it's not always about me. I know that's hard for you to believe, but it really isn't always about you either. Somebody else is having, somebody walked by me in the hall one day and just walked right by me that I knew really well. This was when I was over in the Humphreys building. And I thought, wow, what did I say that made that happen? Like it was about me. No, this person was like zeroing in on wherever they were going. I found that out later, right? But I spent a good amount of time whining to myself about why this person was behaving so rudely to me. It isn't all about you, and it isn't all about them. It's all about something. But, that's my stop personalizing and start empathizing piece. Because I would personalize all the time. Oh, well, they didn't call me back because, they walked by me because. Assigning motivation to people that they don't even know. They don't have any part of, they don't have any chance to defend, you know, we just make stuff up. And by the way, we don't ever fill in good blanks of lack of information with good news. I don't. So if you find yourself filling in blanks with bad news, that's a pretty good key that you're making an assumption. You better be careful. Go back and think about, why did I make that assumption? And why did I fill that blank in with bad news? Because that's what we do. And that's what other people do too. So pay attention when they're doing it. Say, how come you're filling that blank in with bad news? Do you know that for sure? You know, question. All right. Is there anything else? Yeah.
I have one question, Roxy. We did a lot of laughing here,
Yeah.
and does the book talk about humor and resilience?
Yeah, it does, and not taking yourself so seriously. Yeah, it goes into so much more depth. I had a real struggle getting it down to this, trying to get it to the 4 reasons why you ought to pay attention to this and the 7 factors. I had a lot of trouble getting it just to that, to try not to make this a 3-week course. Because I know how to do that too. And this wasn't the place or the time. So it's a good book. It has a lot of real good strategies in it. And one of the things I like about it is that it has a lot of case studies. So it talks about so-and-so and so-and-so and what their traps were and how they dealt with them. So it's nice. You might see yourself in this one or that one. All right. Well, I think I'm done for today. I need to hand this over to Mary. She has a few comments she wants to make. And thank you for inviting me, and thank you for sticking with it and paying attention. I appreciate it very much.